Hi guys, so it's a beautiful morning, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the price or the cost of starting a farm. I currently started the farm a while back. It's been about 6 years from the time I started a farm. Now the interesting bit is that most people, when they are thinking about starting a farm or when they consider starting a farm, a lot of people consider it simply as a retirement plan. I just don't understand. So most people have this imagination that for someone to start a farm, they must be in their later years of life, and then they should be thinking of starting the farm as something to take them through their retirement, something to do in the time while they are bored. They think about a time when they're not working, they have finished working, whatever kind of work that they have been doing, maybe an office job or something like that, and then now they just come back, sit in their compound. You guys can see my compound right here. So we've been planting grass, and it's starting to look really beautiful. I'm enjoying it. It's starting to look really beautiful. So they imagine themselves, coming back and sitting in the house, and then sitting in, a very nice compound right here with a lot of greenery, and then maybe supervising a little bit of the work on the farm and things like that. So because of that, they think to themselves that, hey, I'm going to make money, and when I make money, it will be my retirement plan. That means that I'm going to work my entire life, and then after I've retired, when I get my gratuity or my pension or whatsoever, I'm going to invest that into starting a farm. And yes, it does make sense just a little bit, but I want to tell you that in reality, farming doesn't need to be a retirement plan. It can be an everyday plan. That's what you need to consider. It's okay for you to actually have a farm, and that farm is your everyday plan for the rest of your life. For me, it is. My farm is my everyday plan. You guys can see the chicken houses in the background here. You can see our feed store right here, and I enjoy it. Honestly, I do enjoy it. Now personally, when I started out the farm, I didn't start it with a plan of it being a retirement plan. No, my goal was not to have a retirement plan. My goal was to have a business. Now there are different types of farms that can be started. Initially, when I started out my farm, I started it on my dad's land. I didn't start it on this land that I do have right now. Currently I do have, this is 3 acres. Actually, I just got another 1 acre, and I'm going to be fencing it. As you guys can see, those right there are concrete posts. You guys can see them. Oh, well, they're in the plantation, but you can see these are concrete posts actually that we're going to be utilizing to fence the farm. These are about 110 of them. So they're going to face 1 acre of land that I do have somewhere. I'm just waiting to get some chain link, just like that. You can see the chain link, and then this was a banana plantation, but now, as you can see, we've started cutting down the plants because this is going to be a road. Moving right through here, you can see right where the tree is, so we're going to have to cut this tree away. We're going to have a road passing right here, leading to the other side where we're going to be fencing, using these concrete poles that we just got recently. And so because of that, my plantation has had to extend. So initially it was here. Actually, it was even much lower than here. So right here we still do have some banana plants, but because I'm moving away that entire section, I had to plant a few more banana plants. You guys can see. So I have new plants, banana plants right here, to try and extend the plantation, because for me, bananas are the real deal. So when I personally started the farm, my goal was not to, just do a hobby kind of farm. I wanted to do a proper farm that brings me money. Now for you, I don't know what your goal is. I don't know what your focus is when it does come to starting a farm. The one thing I want to tell you though is that it's actually possible to start a farm without having so much money, and it only depends on your goals and your vision and what you choose your life out to be. Currently, I've reached a particular point in my life where I feel like I've started to realize the value of life. And I know this might sound a little bit cliche, because what usually happens is that a lot of people say that people who get some money then start telling those who don't have money that money never makes you happy. The weird bit is that it's really true. And unfortunately, you have to first experience it for you to actually believe it's true. Every time someone tells you about it, you feel like you know, the person is only telling you that thing because they do have money, yeah, and they don't know the problems you've been going through. They don't know the hassles you've been going through. And with the hassles you've been going through, if they could only experience or learn what you've been going through, they would understand that if only they got a little bit of money, they would be out of that hassle. You know, they wouldn't be stressing. Their life would be much easier. Their life would be much happier. Yeah, that's the thing that they would imagine. But in reality, people come to this realization at different points in their lives. I personally, I came to this realization when I was probably about 31, about 2 years ago after the passing of my mom. My mom passed on in 2022, it's now 2025. So about 3 years ago after the passing of my mom, I came to, you know, this realization. I was still chasing money. And I'll be honest with you, it's not like I make crazy amounts of money, no. Well, I make enough to not be uncomfortable. So I'm able to eat when I want. I'm able to eat anywhere I want. I'm able to sleep anywhere I want. I'm able to buy most of the stuff that I want. Yeah, I can't buy everything I want. I'm able to get most of the stuff I want. I'm able to travel when I want. I'm able to work based on my schedule, and for me that's comfortable enough. Yeah. Now, in all honesty, for a lot of people, what I make is nothing. A lot of people make millions. A lot of people make billions. In fact, a lot of people make what I make, and they feel so bad that it's nothing that they actually go ahead to steal. Yeah, they have government jobs. They have, you know, all kinds of jobs, but they are involved in like money laundering and stealing and all these kinds of things because they feel like what they have is not enough. Yeah, and the more they get, the more they feel like what they have is little, and they have to push more and more to even get more money. Yeah, but in reality, I want to tell you that it's actually possible for you to start a farm and grow to the scale that I've grown on and actually be happy and content and not stressed. Like I was saying, when I started out on my dad's land. Now, there's this big preperception that I see a lot on social media. You know, when people go under my comments and, you know, they are watching my story, a lot of people have this idea that I actually came from money, yeah, that I inherited, you know, a lot of land, or my dad gave me a lot of land. I'm not trying to defend myself because I really don't care. I don't care what people think, yeah? What I'm trying to explain is for you people outside there who are in the same position I was in earlier on, I want to let you know that it's actually possible for you to come out of it and actually develop and grow and do what you want to do, yeah? Personally, I didn't grow up from a wealthy family. In fact, in my primary school, I used to be chased from school, literally every term, yeah? My mom and dad separated when I was really young, so they used to chase me from school for tuition literally every term, yeah. And luckily enough, I got really good grades in my primary school, and someone offered to pay my tuition for secondary school, yeah. So for the 6 years of secondary school, or what we call high school here in Uganda, someone offered to pay my tuition, and then he said that he would stop paying the fees or the tuition after Form 6. So I had to make sure that I get really good grades so that the government can pay for my university. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah, I got really good grades, and the government paid for my university for me to do a medical course. So I can say that I was really blessed. Yeah, I was really blessed. I can guarantee you that if I hadn't gotten those good grades, I don't know what I've done for university. I would certainly have studied university. I'm certain my parents would have done everything for me to go to university. But I don't think they would have afforded paying for a medical degree course because it's quite expensive compared to a lot of other courses, yeah. So probably I wouldn't be a doctor, yeah. But anyway, so doing that, and then, you know, I grew up in the city. The setting wasn't the very best, you know. It was renting a lot of the time in really small houses. Everything was a struggle, like really a struggle. What happened is that I graduated as a doctor. So when I was working as a doctor, this place where my farm is like 26 kilometers, maybe 27 kilometers away from where I was working as a doctor. So being the ambitious kind of person that I am, I told myself that I'm going to start a farm someday. That was the goal. I wanted to start, not really a farm, but a business. I wanted to start a business. So I learned as much as I can about starting businesses. So I did my research, a lot of research, and I zeroed down on starting a farm. I've told this story of how I decided to start a poultry farm. And because my dad had some land that had actually been given to him as an inheritance by his dad, yeah, so that's my grandfather, I decided to start a farm, you know, close here. Now, I of course didn't have money to buy land, yeah, never. So because my dad had been given, I think at that time it should have been like, it was less than an acre, maybe half an acre. Yeah, that's why his house was. He allowed me to utilize like the back section of that area for me to build, you know, a chicken farm. So his house was at the front, and at the back, he let me build a chicken structure there, just like any parent would do for their child, really, yeah. So that's what I decided to do. I put up a chicken structure there and, you know, started doing my stuff right there. Yeah. And so that's how I started. I mean, later on, because of my ambition, I started a YouTube channel. I started all these kinds of things. And slowly by slowly, money started trickling in. And then for me, like I've said, my goal was to start the farm as a proper blown up business. Yeah. So for me, it wasn't like, you know, doing it on the side and doing it slowly. I wasn't waiting for slow growth. No, I wanted fast growth. And my growth has been fast, but I feel like it could even have been faster. My ambitions are big, but I feel like they could have been bigger. The point I'm trying to make right here is that it's actually possible for you to start a farm with whatever amount of money. For me, I started with about, I think the chicken house cost me about $3,000, which is honestly quite a lot because I had ambitions of starting with a big number of birds. At that point, I wanted to start with like 1,500 birds. I didn't start with 1,500. I started with half that because I didn't have the money to raise the birds. I started with just about 750 birds, yeah? I mean, they gave me extra to make it 800. That's what I started with, but anyone could have started smaller. The point is, it doesn't matter who you are, yeah? You can start small. You can start small whichever way that you want. You can actually start on a really small scale while you're doing your job. So consider yourself doing your job. A lot of people don't want to be like me. They don't want to resign from their jobs and come and live on their farms like me, like I do. No, a lot of people don't want that. Some people want to live in the cities and it's okay. The point you need to understand is that you should be okay not living a millionaire kind of lifestyle. You don't need to be a millionaire to be happy. That's the point I'm trying to say, yeah? You don't need to be a millionaire to be happy, and if you don't need to be a millionaire to be happy, then you can start a farm with really small amounts of money. Recently, I started a goat farm that's on about 18 acres of land. Of course, you're going to tell me you don't have 18 acres of land. You don't need 18 acres of land to start a goat farm. You only need half an acre, or even less than that, for you to start with just a few goats. And as you slowly get money, you keep expanding and expanding. Currently, as I kept getting money, I kept expanding and expanding on the land that I even do have in this place. So right now in this place, in fact, I have more than 4 acres, maybe 4.5 acres, right where I started. And land in this area right now is quite expensive. When I bought the land, I believe that was in 2020 during the COVID period. When I bought the land, things were very different then, yeah, very, very different. The price was much lower. Right now, the value of the land has really increased and the land is expensive, and I've managed to get to about 4.5 acres in this place. So that means that it's actually possible. Start slowly. As you keep getting money, you can expand into the land. If you have $1,000, start with that. Yeah, I want to tell you that $1,000 can actually start you a proper farm. Yeah. Now, depending on the kind of farm that you want to start, things might be different. It's cheaper to start, for example, a crop farm compared to an animal farm. I've actually made a video about that. You know, I leave a card right here to compare animal and crop farming. But if you want to start a crop farm, it's much easier. It will certainly give you a bit less cash flow, but it's certainly much easier for you to start and, you know, manage and handle. So it's something that I would advise you to do. That is number one. But number two, I want to let you know that even if you want to start an animal farm, it is doable. Yeah, you can start with 5 goats, with 10 goats, and slowly grow the number. The main thing is to be determined, the determination, the focus. Yeah, you need determination, you need focus, and you need to make sure that you understand what enough is for you. Yeah, what you actually need in life. Is your goal to get out and be a billionaire, to be a millionaire in dollars? Then maybe starting a small farm is not going to work for you. Maybe you need to save a lot of money and start a huge farm with birds in cages and all those kinds of things. But if your goal is simply to start a farm and be happy and make some money from the farm, come on, you can start a farm with whatever amount of money. It's what I did. For me, again, it was to make money. And it was certainly much bigger than any of you, or than most of you would need to. But again, you can start it without so much money. $1,000, in fact, even $500 is enough for you to start a farm. Yeah, if you can start out by hiring land, if you know any relative that has land that they are not utilizing, you can start from there. And as you get money, then you can expand and buy your own land. I said on my dad's land, he has let me keep the chicken structure on his land, but I've been able to buy my own land. If I wanted, I could move away from his land. But of course, I have a structure there, so I want to keep utilizing the structure. And the farms are not too far away from each other. Yeah, luckily enough, because I mean, this is like my ancestral area where my parents were born and things like that. It's quite good that my farm is not far away from his farm. In fact, when I look to my sites, like on all my sites, my neighbor right here is a clan member. Yeah, the people who are right at the top, on top of the farm, are also clan members. The person who have just sold me land on the left is also a clan member. So it's a really good thing because it's like my area of inheritance. So I'm trying to keep, first of all, the wealth in the family and the clan and things like that. That's number one. But number two, it's also very beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing for me because I get to enjoy the nature. I get to enjoy the beauty of being here. And like I said, I have huge goals of expansion, but I'm not letting them overwhelm me. I want to enjoy the beauty of growing each and every day without having too much expectation of making so much money and letting it stress me out. No, I won't let that happen. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've talked about a few concepts, maybe 2 or 3 in the video. That's number 1, you can start small. Number 2, you don't need to have a very rich background. And number 3, you need to learn to be content and understand what being content for you is. If you get those 3 concepts in the video, then you've got what message is in the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love. Bye-bye.